So it's good to have you in. I appreciate you coming into the studio and, getting to hear a little bit about you and your story. So if you want to, just tell us a little bit about you to get things started.
Yeah, really. My name's Malik, Malik Austin. I've been, in Louisville majority of my life. Fitness really didn't come to me until maybe 15, 16. I've always been athletic, played basketball, ran track all throughout school, and really what made me get into bodybuilding is when I was young, I would have this little pull-up bar on the door. My granddad used to watch me do pull-ups all the time, and I used to knock out 10 back-to-back, just like it's nothing. I was always a skinny guy, still a skinny guy, but I just wanted to change the narrative in my family. I come from a very obese family, so that's really what made me push for, the top level of fitness.
Gotcha.
In the most uncomfortable way, which is being on stage to me.
Yeah.
Not really, extrovert. Like I like to be, I'm in a close group of friends that I've always known all my life. Haven't really stepped out, but really, just getting into fitness, man, it's really changed a lot for me. It's really kept me in a good space. Going through anything like that, I've always ran to fitness. It's always been my go-to, my vice.
Yeah. Where'd you go to high school?
Seneca. A lot of athleticism, and it was not a team at all. Like back when I graduated in 14, it was a lot of skilled individuals, man, but we could not ever come together as a team. So, yeah. But it's always been, fairly athletic school.
Yeah, definitely a lot of history there. So you kind of mentioned coming from like more of an obese family. Was that ever, was that ever something that you feared, in yourself, like thinking, I don't want to? Or was that even kind of on your mind as a kid?
Not necessarily. As a kid, like I said, I've always been thin, man. I really don't know how. Both of my parents were over 400 pounds at the same time, and they ended up, they're just recently, getting at a maintainable weight. They had the lap band surgery. That really helped them out a lot, but I never really worried about being obese just because I was always athletic and into sports. But it did, it worried me for them.
Yeah.
I just want them to be healthy and want them to live a long life. So
yeah. And, where did that fitness push come from? I mean, I guess maybe sports, but like, was there any like push to want to be in the world of fitness, or was it just like, I enjoy doing this and it just happens to be like kind of some of these things?
So I've always watched different videos of just people working out. Not necessarily in the bodybuilding area, but as far as just being in shape, I've always watched people that meal plan. I've been, deep diving into that here recently for myself. That's probably one of the toughest things that I've been through. But yeah, just YouTube videos and, just being active myself. That's really what made me get into fitness.
Gotcha. And then what opened your eyes to the world of bodybuilding?
So I don't know if you know who Raymond Edmonds is.
I don't.
Men's physique. He was 2019 Mr. Olympia.
Okay.
Watched one of his videos, got extremely motivated. And I remember telling, my good friend a long time ago, probably about 8th grade, I want to say, I just wanted to do something in fitness that, is not normal in my family. I want people to look at me and my family like, where did that come from? Why did you decide to do that or go that route? And like I said, on stage is probably the most uncomfortable thing I could think of. So, that's pretty much that.
Yeah. So, bodybuilding really is taking fitness to the extreme. Kind of like, really, it takes life to the extreme because, as much as I call it a sport, it's really more of a lifestyle. Everything has to revolve around, if you're bodybuilding, there's certain, time frames in the sport where you can kind of take it a little bit easier, but every single day is kind of like a practice session for another, comparing it to another sport. It's like there's always a purpose to this hour of the day, whether it's, I'm training or I'm recovering from my training and I'm, eating or I'm meal prepping or I'm, doing some type of, therapy to, get back and recover faster to train again. Like there's always some kind of task to be done when it comes to bodybuilding.
I think it's another thing that really drug me into it, man. I love a challenge. So seeing all the things that, the obstacles that other men's physique guys had to face, I knew I could do it, but then again, I didn't know, and I wanted to try it out. So really, my first show, I had no coach. Just like I said, I wanted to wing it. I worked out. I've always been pretty athletic, and my diet, I wasn't following a strict plan. So I didn't really get to see how tough the diet was, and then being on course and schedule with every single thing and having a coach on my back on top of that,
right,
to my second show.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break here just for a second. Let me tell you about Smoking Gun Coffee. They're a veteran-owned coffee company that strives to produce a quality coffee at an affordable price. They only buy coffee from small coffee farmers around the world with a cup score of at least 85. Each batch is roasted to order for maximum freshness. They also donate a large portion of their proceeds to organizations that help local communities, veterans, first responders, or you can donate to the foundation of your choice at the checkout by going to www.smokingguncoffee.com. That's SMOKIN Gun Coffee.
So do you feel like having kind of that first show is kind of like you were probably pretty serious about the training? Maybe you didn't, know all the things about training or all the things about diet, but do you feel like that was kind of almost a good thing in a way? It was levels to like you getting kind of used to the lifestyle in a way?
I think so, because it taught me a lot. I learned a lot on my own, really trial and error, a lot of error. So I know that, trying to do the diet on my own, I could have done a lot better in my first show if I had a coach. But on my own, for me to just go out there and do it without a coach, not knowing the proper diet or proper amount of reps or anything like that to take, I think I learned pretty much, like, a lot. Yeah.
And during the kind of the prep for that first show, amongst the community, did you have any, not having a coach, but did you have anybody kind of helping you, giving you kind of pointers?
Yes. So my wife, she's always been in my corner. She did a lot of my meals, cooking wise, even though we didn't know exactly what I needed to eat to get that certain vascularity at all. But she was definitely in my corner. I have a little cousin that is extremely into fitness as well. He's always gave me that push. Even if I didn't have the right look, he would be like, hey, he'll be that second eye for me even when I wasn't in front of a mirror. He would give me that extra push.
Did you have any kind of fear or any anxiety about the posing aspect of bodybuilding?
Oh, yeah. So that's a funny story. That's a funny thing you say that. The day before my show, which was check-ins that Friday, I had a early morning posing session. Only one. That was my very first one. And I had seen a guy on Instagram. I think his name is John. He owns 502 Bodybuilding.
Okay.
Reached out to him and, just asked for some advice on posing. And shout out to him, man. He was more than helpful. Met him up at LA Fitness, and we went through a little posing. He gave me a lot of great pointers. And I felt more confident going into the show even after that. Even now, looking back on the pictures of that first show, I'm like, it could have been better. But I did learn a lot from him. And it definitely helped a lot.
Yeah, and you've mentioned it a few times already, kind of about getting out of your comfort zone, and bodybuilding is that way, and getting on stage is that way to kind of do that. Tell us a little bit about that experience the first time, getting ready for the show, being backstage, and finally stepping on stage.
Yeah. Definitely experience when I first got to the venue, so many people. Just seeing a big stage from the audience point of view, I was like, man, I'm about to get on that stage, and I just hope that, I make something happen. Just, if anything, I just want to enjoy the experience and have fun. Got back in the locker room where they kept everybody, where we all got tanned. It didn't really hit me until I got my first coat of spray tan. And then I was like, okay, it's starting to settle in. It's starting to get a little real. I was getting the butterflies. Up until then, I was trying to talk myself up. I'm ready to get this going. But as soon as I got that spray tan, man, I was like, oh my God, there's no turning back.
It's funny you mentioned that. Somebody else, can't remember who, but somebody else said that too about the tan. Like
spray tan. Oh
yeah,
and
makes
it's
it real.
So cold, like it gives you the chills. I guess it just wakes up just a bug in you. Just lights a fire up under you for real.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So, coming from a family that is, a little bit more obese, like you said, and struggles with their weight, what did they think when you made the decision to get into this sport?
Surprisingly, I got a lot of support, especially from my father's side of the family, which is majority of everybody is obese. We really didn't have anybody in the bodybuilding aspect of it. Everybody pretty much played football or basketball, stayed in that lane. But once those pictures came out after the show, I guess they kind of believed me on me chasing my dream and really want to go full steam at it. Once they seen those pictures, actually this past Derby, my aunt, she seen me. We met at the bowling alley, and she was like, I've saved those pictures of your first bodybuilding, so I really thought you did really good, and it really hit me. It touched me because I didn't really expect that type of support from them.
That's pretty cool. So moving forward after that first show, and you kind of get that experience and probably a lot of the butterflies out of the way, the first prep, you don't have a coach. So it's kind of like a learning experience in a lot of ways, learning not just, the technical side of it, but also learning kind of how you're going to respond to it and learning also how your body's responding to certain things. What did you really take away from that experience that you put into the next time that you got ready for a show?
Just, studying what it is that I need to do. Just using the first show as an example. NPC, you get a mixture of, natural, unnatural competitors. Me, myself, I personally thought NPC was going to be tested. I had no idea that it wasn't. So, studying the shows, studying which show you're wanting to do, knowing what you're going in, the purpose of going into a specific show. So this second show I did was NGA. All drug tested, all natural show. So that was more so what I was looking to do. Because I have a very thin frame. It's hard for me to put on a substantial amount of weight. So all natural show, it really helped me out. Just the experience having a coach, be my second eye, be on top of me for diet, nutrition, and everything. I felt so much better going to the second show than, my first. Posing, had a opposing coach. He was to the T with everything, meeting every single week, making sure I was being able to hold the poses for a certain amount of time. Flexing different muscles that I didn't know I had. Like that, just different stuff like that. So.
Yeah. I think that's something that people overlook. It definitely, me not being a competitor, it's something that I don't really think about, just watching a show. I just assume like, okay, these people have this physique, and now they're just showing it to us, and it seems like so simple when you're out there watching, but obviously not.
It's definitely, it's really about looking good on stage. That's really it. Being able to look better than the person next to you, but also understanding that it's not just a competition. You're really in competition with yourself. Just trying to be a better look than you was previously than you was on stage. So, I mean, you get that adrenaline rush of, it's a competition. You want to be on top, but also the joy of it not only being a competition. You're able to better yourself each and every time. So I think that's something to look forward to and what I loved about it.
So bodybuilding being kind of a lifestyle sport combination of the two, you really have to give yourself to it. There's a lot of, kind of like what we're talking about, there's a lot of things that go into it. How did you handle it first, and how do you kind of continue to handle the social aspect of life? People wanting this, that, and the other from you. Hey, let's do this, or let's go out, partying, or whatever it is. How do you handle that, and how do you kind of, really stay sane? Because at the end of the day, you're still a young person. A lot of people aren't disciplined, and they just kind of do what they want to do when they want to do it.
Oh, yeah.
How do you handle that?
I'm not perfect by no means, but being able to tell yourself no, that's definitely a thing. You have to be strong enough to, understand your situation, and when those occasions arise where your friends are like, okay, hey, let's go out. Come on, man, you can have one drink. It's not gonna kill you. It's tough, but being able to tell yourself no is definitely a plus. Me, really, I don't go out much. I'm always at home. I'm a couch potato. Other than fitness, when I'm in the gym, I'm going straight home, being with my family. Especially now that I have a daughter that's about to be 1. that really helped me out because I was in the house. Just wanted to, build that relationship with her and make sure she, I get that time with her too.
Yeah.
So I think that really helped me also.
And that's obviously another kind of added, having a child, that's another added thing to think about, to worry about. And also to, the financial side of bodybuilding. There's a lot of money that goes into the training, the food, the show, all that kind of stuff. I
think it's a part that not everybody looks into. I think they see the final touch of you just being on stage, but not knowing the actual steps that it took leading up to the show and you being on stage. Like, the cost, that is one thing that really threw me off. I didn't expect that at all. Like, from travel to, hotels, if you wasn't staying at the host hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, just the food and everything too, like that. So I wasn't expecting that.
To put so much money into it and so much time, and to also see, hey, I have a kid and I have this other job that I do and I have, a family and I have friends. It's almost amazing, like, that people are so passionate about something that, even though it gives so much to their life, it also takes, it takes a lot of things away from them.
Oh yeah. This, like I said, this passion that I have, it was coming from Ray Mike Evans, just studying him and seeing him win. It was just something about his drive that really made me, that burning fire sensation that I had, just watching his videos. And then after studying him, looking at different people that's won the Olympia. And that, of course, that's the end goal.
Right.
That's, for me, that's the end goal. But studying Brandon Hendrickson, Andre Ferguson, people that's, that's been at that level, watching their videos over and over and over again. You can ask my wife, man. Sometimes she looks at me like, this is all you do. Like, okay, you got to take a step back. Remember, let's go out and go to the park or something like that. But, sometimes I find myself just studying day in and day out, just watching.
What do you think you've learned the most from watching them?
Consistency. Just being able to dial in, even when you don't want to. I have a lot of those days where, I work a quality assurance job at Kentucky Trailer. So I'm getting up super early in the morning. After work, I got to try to get it in, spend time with family, cook, go to sleep, wake up, repeat. Yeah. So I'm consistently tired, but at the same time, being able to be consistent in the gym, it's a plus. You get many benefits from it.
I think people that are kind of outside of fitness that, look in at people who enjoy it more than the average person, they'll say, if I was like you, then I would do it more. I think there's such a misconception that just because you enjoy it sometimes or a lot of the times, that you always want to go to the gym or that you always feel like eating a healthy meal.
I'm definitely a believer in, it's power in the tongue. Whatever you tell yourself you can do it. Like, go for it. Even if you don't know for sure you can do it, try it anyway. Because if you do succeed in it, who's to say it wasn't your calling? That's how I look at it. My gift, I believe, is in fitness, something in fitness. It doesn't even necessarily have to be competing. But I know it is something in fitness that I can give off to somebody down the line whenever they have questions. So
yeah. So if it wasn't bodybuilding, if it wasn't competing, what do you think? Have you ever thought about what that could be?
I used to want it to be basketball. I loved the basketball. I was always at the gym. If not that, I have no idea. I have not, took a step back just to process what I would be doing outside of fitness, because fitness is just, what I've based my life around.
Yeah. It really is kind of weird how it kind of consumes your life in so many ways, because it's not just like about going to the gym. People think it's like, oh, you go to the gym, you're in the world of fitness, but it's kind of like if you really think about like your own health, your own, it's really kind of about everything that you do.
Yeah, the sleep though that you mentioned, that is probably the most important part. Recovery. You got to sleep in order to recover in the best way. So that's one of the things that I didn't really take into account until my second show. Getting ready for the second show, I was like, I got to get more sleep. The stress levels, you got to be able to contain that.
Like, what do you think is that number one thing? Hey, we have to get this optimized in order for me to, keep going up the ranks.
Obviously, receiving my pro card. I want to do it all natural. I don't want to go any other route. But, of course, competing on the big stage, Olympia. even if I don't get there, the biggest stage that I can in the all-natural bodybuilding world. I think once I'm able to compete at that level and be successful at that level and help somebody else do the same thing, that's when I'll feel like, I've done what I was supposed to do. Not only me doing it, but helping somebody else after me do it.
So from a coaching perspective?
Yep.
Gotcha.
I would love to get into that. I'm a certified personal trainer as well, and I've also took a step back on that in order to pursue this passion right here.
This podcast is sponsored by Smoking Gun Coffee, a veteran-owned coffee company that strives to give back to those in need. Don't forget to use code TWR10 for a 10% discount at checkout.
Gotcha. What is it about, wanting to help somebody do that?
Honestly, I love people. I just love helping, giving back in any type of way that I can. And when I was personal training, even with some of the clients that I had that were into certain things like charity events or, giving back Toys for Tots, stuff like that, I always wanted to make sure I was a part of something like that. So I have a good friend named Darian. He always did Toys for Tots for his business. And when I took him in as a client, he really opened my eyes to being able to give back in different ways other than, just word of mouth. But just giving back to people, that's probably my biggest thing. I want to impact somebody's life that, maybe they can do whatever they aspire to follow.
And I think the cool thing about bodybuilding is that it is such a community of people.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Even though it's just kind of like you versus you in a lot of ways, people are so willing to either help you or support you or just give you a kind word. It's
surprisingly to me, there's been more help than doubt from people. Like I've had more people be willing to give me advice on anything that I needed versus I'm reaching out, hey, can you help me with this? And then they kind of blow me off. I've never had that ever. So that's one thing I'm thankful for, and that really pushes me to want to help somebody else even more also.
The psychological side of it's such a big aspect to what they do. It's awesome how a person can, when they know how to do it, can kind of, in a good way, manipulate someone else's mind.
Right. Just seeing that coach or whoever their coach may be, learn your body and learn what's best for you. It's kind of funny because it's like you're teaching me something about myself that I can't figure out on my own. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's pretty dope. And I think that's really what makes me want to dive into the coaching to get people to realize stuff about themselves that they might not see. So I think that helps out too.
What do you feel like you've learned about bodybuilding that, when you first started, it was like a misconception? Like you thought something that was just completely backwards, to what it really is?
That you had to be 250 pounds, all muscles shredded, jacked, of course everybody wants to be, have that certain physique, but you can start where you are. Just getting, into that right headspace, being able to dial in and do the work that's necessary to, get to where you want to be. But, just being able to start at the level that you're on is always a starting point. You don't have to get to a certain level in order to jump in. I think that's the biggest misconception.
So you would say probably to somebody, do a little bit of kind of legwork a little bit and go through a prep and do a show and get the experience and understand what it's like and understand what it takes.
Absolutely. I would absolutely say that. Not, do it because you love it. I would tell that person that. Do it because you absolutely love to train and you want to better yourself.
And, once again, it's just so crazy that people, and it seems like it's getting bigger. The world of bodybuilding is just continuing to grow, hopefully for good reasons, of course.
Yep.
Social media, I think, plays a big role into people wanting to put themselves out there in different ways and maybe take advantage of, what bodybuilding can do for them. But I think for the most part, a lot of people really do, have this crazy passion for the struggle and for the challenge and for all of the pain and the suffering. It's crazy to me.
Especially for men's physique, man. I feel like because men's physique has not always been here in bodybuilding. Like, it's fairly new. So I feel like once that category opened up, it opened, the door for a lot more people, not just, 300 pounds of all raw muscle. Like, I think it opened the door for a lot more, and it's opening even more because even more categories are starting to open up. Wellness division, figure, you got different things that you can get into, not just bodybuilding in specific.
Yeah. Do you see anything else kind of coming out in the future?
I'm not sure. I'm sure there will be, a lot more things as far as maybe tailored to those who aren't trying to go for a certain look, but just be healthy. More so of a lifestyle category. I can definitely see that. I see that moving that way.
And as far as like natural, what draws you to that aspect?
Because that's top tier health. You don't have to worry about those extra, side effects of anything if you are taking anything. I don't down anybody for doing it. But as far as me, I know what my family has been through with health, not on the healthy side. So me just doing it all natural, staying on top of what goes into my body, I think that gives me, even more fire to the fuel, fuel to the fire. That's how I feel.
Gotcha. So definitely from a health perspective, from keeping it. I think it's kind of cool too to see what the human body is capable of. It's so crazy what it really is. Even just looking away from bodybuilding, like people who can run crazy distances or who can, overcome like crazy survival situations, like what the body can adapt to, I think is amazing.
And it's funny, to see what the body can change into with just body weight, not even lifting weights. Like you can literally change your full structure with just your body weight. Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think we have like a big fitness industry now where it comes like supplements and gyms and all these things. We sometimes forget like going back to the basics. Yeah. We overcomplicate it.
That's you saying supplement. That's one of the things also in diet that I have changed from the first show, and then now completing my show that I finished up in May. My supplement intake is totally different. I think I relied on creatine and protein only. Now I'm looking into different stuff like glutamine. Just different. It's a lot to list, but
as you kind of
different supplements, man, that you got to take in order to take your body to the next level.
It's really cool because fitness is more turning into like a science backed thing now versus like 40 years ago it was like you go to the gym and who's the biggest guy there and you take all their advice. Mm-hmm. And it's also kind of scary in the same way that there is all that detail.
Because it's like now everything has to evolve.
Yeah,
so it's like where does it go from here? What's going to be next? I think that's where, I kind of question the fitness industry. I'm excited about it, but at the same time, you got in the back of your head like, okay, I'm doing this now, but what am I going to be doing in the future?
Crazy to think like with technology evolving and just things like virtual reality and augmented reality, right. What world does bodybuilding, how does bodybuilding fit into that kind of technological world?
I've never even thought about that. Never thought about that. VR. I mean, I think it'll give someone a good feeling of what it might be like on stage, as far as VR, virtual reality.
Yeah.
Just putting on a headset and being able to zone in on a row of judges right here, and then a crowd looking at you, and you don't have a mirror in front of you just to see how you look.
Yeah.
I think it'd be pretty dope.
That would be. It's definitely an interesting. Because using technology, I feel like we've kind of gotten away from using technology to help our lives. We've used technology to like completely change our lives, and it's almost to the point where we can't live without this technology. So it's interesting to use it as like an aid for something,
right.
And then still being able to do it naturally, like without all the technology, but that thing just helps.
Right.
So it is cool to kind of think how can bodybuilding, because I think one thing that when I talk to a lot of people, it's like I can train and I can prep my body, I can eat down to the gram, but on show day, I don't necessarily know what the judge is looking for. So I've always thought, is there going to be a time when the judges are computers or something, because it gives it more of a standard.
Or the people, just even if the people had a say, not just going by, what the judges say, because sometimes, fitness or competing, it can get political. It can. But, just having the crowd involved, which they are as to them cheering you on in the crowd and, maybe getting the head to turn at your number versus the person next to you. I don't know. I don't know how that would go.
It's almost crazy to think that we are so technologically advanced.
Basically, yeah.
When we have like so many people that haven't mastered the human body yet too. It's almost like, are we ready for that new challenge before we even master ourselves?
Especially for someone, just now getting into it. I've been competing for less than a year. So just the small changes that I've made with my body, it's overwhelming, but at the same time, you're excited to, know where the future is going.
Do you ever see that bodybuilding becomes more structured? Bodybuilding, it's like, okay, you can choose to do this show, and then this other person's going to go do this other show in Baltimore, and this other person's going to go do this other show, in Washington, and you may never meet. Right. And then one time you might meet, but then, there's other competitors. Do you ever feel like it's going to become to where it's like people are forced to compete against each other?
I would like to see that, honestly.
Like some kind of scheduling or something.
In a way, I do think so. Because you get these top-tier guys that decide on a show. If you bring the top-tier guys together to compete in one show, you get a hell of a show. A great show. Why not do that? I definitely see that happening, even for, those who's just now coming into it, stepping on stage with someone who's maybe competing for years. You get in one of those shows and you got a couple of people that's been doing it for years, and that makes your experience even better because now you're on stage with people that's, been doing it, and you kind of get to learn their way of doing things in the fitness industry. I think it is going to go that route.
I could see it too, like maybe making it a little bit more monetizable for the athletes. Oh, yeah. Maybe more for the fans as well, where it's like
they know what to expect.
They know who's going to be there. It's like, hey, I want to be at that show because these people are going to be there. Maybe it draws more of like a TV experience.
It's like the Olympia, who's competing in men's physique Olympia this year. I'm going. That's how the people are going to react. If they see their, Kentucky Muscle, they know two top tier people are going against each other at Kentucky Muscle. I'm going to be there. I'm going to get, and that's a good way to sell tickets. It can help, but then again, I think it can hurt, a part of it too as well, because who's to say another show won't be going on at the same time? If everybody's going to this one show, it's like, everybody wants to focus on just this one when there's talent everywhere.
Yeah, I think it is such a big, and I think that's the good thing about bodybuilding is that it is so kind of big and so spread out that pretty much anybody can get involved in it.
There's a lot more people in the natural, bodybuilding world than I expected. I've talked to a couple people, Eric Murphy, Showtime. I've talked to them and just how they attack the stage together. It's so fun. The natural bodybuilding on stage is so much different than NPC. NPC is structured. Like you do front pose, face to rear. NGA, which was my last show, we doing a T-walk. So you coming out, hitting a pose, walk to the front of the stage, hit a pose, go to the other side of the stage, hit a pose, back pose, go to the other side. We can do poses, classic physique poses. Turn around, hit a double bicep. In NPC, you can't do that. Not in men's physique. But I think that's, another reason why I wanted to do natural. I wanted to be more versatile, not just, face front, face rear.
A little bit more creativity.
Definitely shows the art.
Posing can be this really, art-filled thing. I
think it should be. I think, just competing, the bodybuilding world, you see Phil Heath, then you take Chris Bumstead, like just comparing the two, and you see Chris Bumstead hitting a double bicep or getting on, I don't know what those poses are called, where he goes to the ground and hits a double bicep, but you see that as art, like that's creativity.
Yeah.
Not everybody can do that. I know I can't get on one knee and hit it. I can't do that. I'm not getting up. I can't do that. But yeah. I think we should keep it, to where it's more so art, more so art bound. Because classic physique, I think they get a little bit more time than men's physique. So I think in NGA, I can't speak for NPC because I didn't really do too much digging in that. But NGA, I think you got 60 seconds, if I'm not mistaken, to do your T-walk. You can use the full 60 seconds.
It's kind of a long time, really. It's a
long time. So I think I got out there for about 30 seconds. When you out there, you feel like you out there forever.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been 5 minutes. It's been 30 seconds. So, I mean, it's easy to run out of poses, especially if you're not studying a lot of them. I came from doing Kentucky Muscle, which is a big show. It was just front and back. That's it. So when I did NGA, I was like, it's overwhelming, but I get to learn a lot more.
So kind of going into that different environment, was it kind of like a whole new first show to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A whole new first show. And, I went into it more confident. On stage, I felt like I was at home. I felt like I wasn't, out of place. I feel like I've been doing it for years. I got videos of me, being on stage, and even after watching them after the show, just to, see what I can fix and see what I can tweak. I fell in love with my routine, what worked for me, and now I get to tweak that and make it even better for the next show. So I think that just switching categories just to all natural and having that free range of, doing a different pose or doing a different, having more stage time, I think that really helped me out too.
Have you ever felt any pressure from anywhere to be like, hey, this is what you could do or what you could achieve, or just do this?
My first show, had somebody backstage, one of the competitors. I met him at Kentucky Muscle, but he's followed me on Instagram for a couple years, and he said he followed my journey for a while, and he's a skinny dude himself, and he's like, bro, have you ever thought about taking trend? Man, I don't know what that is. It don't sound, good for me. I don't want to take anything that's gonna physically make me bigger. I'm good. But I mean, I think it's inevitable. I think people are going to approach you with it. If you're in that sport, if they don't, cool. But I think it's going to happen. Somebody's going to ask you at one point in your journey. Getting
into bodybuilding, I feel like it would almost be a little bit intimidating, first getting into it, just thinking, what do I have to do to look like that?
And a lot of people probably do think that, that's, who's to say there's someone out there who wants to compete so bad but feel like they have to, participate in any type of drugs to get a certain size. That's, and that's where I want to, in a way, I want to make a voice for those who, don't want to take anything but may not have that size to get up on stage. Do that. Seriously, do that.
Yeah. It's cool that there's so many different routes to go down in bodybuilding. Mm-hmm. Such a personal journey.
Yeah, I think that's why I dialed into the all natural side. It's not just about being the biggest one on stage no more. It's about the art.
Yeah.
Who can outpose who? Maybe you're way bigger than me, but I may pose better than you.
Yeah. It's getting up on stage and having people tell you what they think of you, what they see in you, and then you're you have all these months of just getting ready, and you're looking at yourself in the mirror every day, and you're just thinking, probably having some good days and some bad days, thinking hey, I look great today, and the next day man, I look terrible. Yep. The ups and downs.
And me feeling like I was at the best I've ever been, and then didn't even place. That first show, it was a wake-up call. It was definitely a wake-up call. It didn't even place. But at the same time, it lights a fire up under you to do better for the next one.
So do you feel like this is, bodybuilding is your future?
I don't believe in no plan B. I don't have a plan B. This has to work. It has to work. It's my passion. It's definitely what I want to do. I want my wife to step in the competition zone so bad. She has, that physique, and I keep letting her know, wellness is fairly new. Do it. Like, you have, very big quads. Like, you have the quad structure for it. Like, she has a big butt. Like, you don't have to do bikini. You can do wellness, have, great glutes, great quads, and it's more so, a bigger look. So I think she can go for it. But, I think it takes that person to know that they want to do, bodybuilding in order to step in that zone.
Is it for her? Do you feel like it's more of the competing, like, on stage aspect, or is it more of the things that you have to do beforehand?
I think it's just her being her own way, man. Like, she wants to be perfect before she tries something. She's more of that type. Like, she wants to look the part before I step into this light.
Gotcha.
With me versus me, I'm like, man, if I want to do it, I'm gonna do it. If I'm not ready for it, I'd rather me do it and then find out my own way.
Yeah.
And learn get my experience from that.
Yeah.
But also be able to take criticism and, learn on the way.
Once you're finally done with competing and maybe you are coaching kind of like more full time, like, do you have like a vision of what that does look like for you?
Yeah. I've always, I want to keep my foot in the door of bodybuilding. So whether that's me leaving ebooks, different courses online to where, you can access me without me being physically present.
Gotcha.
Even if, like I can do a Zoom call. I mean, just the online version of me, still in the bodybuilding world. When I'm done competing, when I know I can't compete at that level, being able to show up at every event still, meeting different people that maybe want to get into it or is already in it and I can help mentor. So that's what I see my future at.
What do you feel like is that number one thing that you've learned about yourself throughout this bodybuilding adventure?
Understanding that the next man may be doing the same thing, but it's not always a competition. It's you versus you. Just be yourself. Continue to do what you do day in and day out to better yourself, not to beat the next man. It's not about that. At the end of the day, you both are in the same sport or doing the same thing, and this is outside of bodybuilding. I can be doing the same thing, but at the end of the day, just trying to be the best you can be. That's it. Yeah,
and I think that holds a lot of people back because they don't think that they can be what, like you said, whether it's bodybuilding or like starting a business. Hey, I'm not going to be the next Bill Gates, so why even try? But like, there's so many possibilities. You start one thing and then that opens a door to something else, and all of a sudden you're, I think that's the magic of life. Really, is like starting down a path. Like, it doesn't matter what that path is. It's like committing to something in a year, and in 5 years you'll look back and be like, how did I get here?
Right. Exactly. That's the best part. Like, looking back on your journey and being like, it was well worth it. Can't be the next Bill Gates, but you can be the first and only you.
Right.
So they don't get no better than that.
100%, man. That's it. I appreciate your time, though.
I appreciate you having me. It's been a long time coming, man.
It's been really good. And if you want to let people know where they can follow you on social media, that'd be cool.
Yep. You can follow me on Instagram, official Malik Austin. I'm majority of the time on there. Facebook, Malik Austin. But majority of the time I'm on Instagram. So if anybody that has any questions or anything about competing or just want to talk, hit me up.
Sounds good. I really appreciate your time.
Yep.